Remember guys, this video is sponsored by One Browser. Don't miss out. One Browser is the must-have tool of 2024. Try it now. Link is in the description. Back to the video. Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive? This time, we're heading straight into the heart of the Ugandan music scene.
It's gonna be juicy.
It is. We're talking about a controversy that's got everyone choosing sides. So, who are our key players? Well, we've got Daddy Andre.
Oh yeah, I know him.
Right. The singer, songwriter, and producer who is never afraid to speak his mind.
Definitely.
On the other side, Eddy Kenzo, also a musician, but he's holding a pretty important role right now. Senior Presidential Advisor on Creatives and the Uganda National Musicians Federation President.
Two pretty big hats to wear.
For sure. And that's actually where the drama starts.
Tell me more.
Daddy Andre is publicly questioning if Kenzo's actually qualified for that advisor position.
Why is that?
He says Kenzo lacks formal education, going as far as to call him illiterate.
Whoa. That's a strong word.
It is. And, it makes you think about what education really means, right? Because Andre is basically saying you need formal education to give advice in a creative field.
It's definitely a loaded word, illiterate. Especially in a culture like Uganda's where education is so deeply respected.
Yeah. I mean, do you think there's ever a case where you don't need those degrees and diplomas to be a good advisor, especially in a creative field?
Well, think about Kenzo's journey. He didn't just stroll into success. He had to hustle, learn things the hard way. That kind of experience has got to count for something, right?
Totally. Especially in the music industry. It's all about resilience, knowing the industry inside and out.
Like, think of the practical knowledge he's gained. Building his brand, leading the Musicians Federation, that's not something you learn from a textbook.
It makes you wonder if those street smarts are just as valuable.
At least in this specific situation, right?
Definitely. And it's not just Daddy Andre who feels this way. We've heard there are a lot of people doubting Kenzo's abilities, wondering if he can really handle all the issues facing Uganda's creative sector.
Yeah, but think about it this way. Maybe, just maybe, Kenzo's experiences actually make him better equipped to understand the challenges faced by emerging artists. Like, he gets it in a way that someone who's only ever been in a classroom wouldn't.
Precisely.
He's been there, done that, and now he's trying to lift others up.
That's a good point.
Plus, you need more than talent to make it as a musician. You need to be a bit of an entrepreneur, know how to market yourself, connect with all kinds of people.
Right. Skills that would definitely be useful in a leadership role.
Exactly. So maybe we're too focused on academics and not giving enough credit to those other forms of knowledge.
It's definitely something to think about.
It is, and it sounds like Kenzo himself is pushing back against these criticisms.
Oh, he is?
Yep, our sources say he's directly addressed those concerns.
I'd love to hear what he had to say.
Me too. I'm dying to know how he's defending his position.
Well, maybe we can try to guess.
Okay, game on. What do you think he might have said?
If I were Kenzo, I'd probably lead with the fact that I've lived this life. Talk about the struggles, the lessons learned, and how all that shaped my understanding of what artists need to succeed. That makes sense. He could also point to his leadership role in the Federation, right? Showing his commitment to actually making change.
Definitely.
He could even use that illiteracy argument to his advantage,
Oh.
saying, hey, I didn't have access to those fancy schools, but I still made it. Now I'm here to help others who are facing those same barriers.
That's pretty clever. It kind of flips the script, right? Makes you wonder if we're missing out on valuable voices just because they don't fit our idea of what an expert should be.
This is getting deep.
It is. And it's clear that Daddy Andre is really passionate about this, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, remember that clip we had from his interview on Senyuka TV? He did not hold back.
Let's hear it.
Okay, rolling the clip now.
Wow. You can really hear that frustration in his voice, can you?
Yeah, he's not messing around.
Yeah.
It's like this isn't just some theoretical debate for him.
No, not at all. It's personal.
He even says, I will not sit there and wait for him to come advise me on something that he doesn't understand.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like they're coming from completely different worlds, almost like they're speaking different languages when it comes to what even makes someone an expert in the first place.
Yeah, and when you think about the Ugandan music scene specifically, there's some pretty big challenges someone in Kenzo's position would need to tackle.
Oh, for sure.
Things like piracy, that's a huge problem over there.
Oh, absolutely. It's a constant battle for so many artists.
And getting fair royalties from streaming platforms. That's an uphill battle everywhere, but especially in a place like Uganda.
Right, and let's not forget about the lack of support for emerging artists.
Especially those outside of Kampala.
Exactly. So for someone like Daddy Andre, who's been dealing with these issues his whole career, It's got to be hard to imagine someone without that same experience could really grasp it all.
Yeah, like how can you advise on something you've never actually lived?
It's a fair point, but then again, Kenzo's success does suggest he's figured out how to navigate those same obstacles.
True. And his leadership in the Musicians Federation does show he wants to make a difference.
Maybe he's the kind of leader who listens and learns, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so let's play devil's advocate here for a second and flip the script.
Okay, I like where this is going.
What advantages might Kenzo's position actually bring?
That's a good one.
Well, for starters, he has the president's ear.
Oh, that's huge.
Hmm.
In terms of getting things done, influencing policy, that's got to count for something.
Right. And just symbolically having a musician in such a high-profile position,
It sends a message.
it does. Like the government actually sees the value of the creative sector.
It's like a seat at the table, finally.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe Kenzo will come up with some totally outside-the-box solutions.
Because he's approaching it with a fresh perspective.
Yeah, unburdened by all that traditional thinking.
It could be revolutionary.
Okay, so where does this leave us? It feels like a bit of a stalemate.
It is nuanced, isn't it?
There are strong arguments on both sides.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It all comes down to this: who do you trust to lead? The person with all the experience or the person with the power and a fresh perspective?
You know what? Maybe it takes both.
A dream team.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe someone like Kenzo needs to team up with someone who really understands the political landscape.
I like it. Blending those street smarts with some more traditional expertise.
Exactly. You could get a lot done that way. So what have we learned today?
What have we learned?
It's not as easy as saying, get a degree, then you can be an advisor.
No, it's not.
It's about recognizing that there are all kinds of expertise.
And maybe this whole controversy will get people thinking about how we value those different kinds of knowledge.
Not just in music, but everywhere. It's pretty crazy to think that this one disagreement has brought up so many bigger questions.
It really has. And those questions go way beyond just the Ugandan music scene. They're about how we all as a society decide who's competent and who should be in charge.
It makes you think, right?
It does.
Because at some point we all need advice, whether it's about our careers, our finances, or even our relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
So how do we figure out who to trust?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Do we go for the people with the fancy degrees and titles?
Or do we trust those who have actually walked the walk?
Maybe it's a mix of both.
Could be.
Or maybe we look for people who just get us, who share our values and can really understand our struggles.
That makes sense.
I think what this whole controversy shows us is how important it is to be aware of our own biases.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, are we overlooking good advice just because it's coming from someone we wouldn't expect?
We might be missing out on some real gems, right?
Totally. So it's a good reminder to stay open-minded
Always a good idea.
and to question those assumptions we all have about who the experts really are.
Because sometimes the best advice comes from the most unexpected places.
It's like that saying, don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly. We need to look beyond the surface.
At the end of the day, expertise isn't about what's on your resume.
It's about what you've learned, how you've grown, and how you use that knowledge to help others.
Well said. This deep dive has really opened my eyes. It's made me realize I need to be more intentional about who I listen to.
That's a great takeaway.
Yeah, and to challenge my own assumptions about who has something valuable to say.
And remember, you never know where you'll find wisdom.
So true.
Yeah.
Stay curious, stay open, and don't be afraid to learn from people who've taken a different path than you.
Well, that's some great advice to wrap up on.
It is.
Yeah.
That's all for this deep dive. See you next time.